Welcome back to Real Estate Talk this Sunday morning. Brent, I got to tell you, before we go back to the topic of property management, I found that one of the great tools that I've been using here to expand this radio program as we march into 2017 is LinkedIn. So make sure you get connected with me on LinkedIn. I'm sure you guys are there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great information site, I think.
It's like Facebook for professionals.
Yeah.
You know,
without
business Facebook.
Yeah. I have to be nice here.
Okay.
So talk about somebody goes out and buys an investment property, Carrie, and they get it bought. They're using it for a retirement, vehicle. And a lot of people do this. I know a lot of people.
They do,
especially rural Texas, that does this.
And that's a.
I do it.
Yeah, it's using the SEP IRA, right? It's a very specific IRA.
Mm-hmm.
It's called a SEP IRA. So you have to be able to convert, your 401k, your Roth, or whatever you need to convert into that, and then you can use that to buy pretty much everything, I think, except for precious metals and art. I think you can use your SEP IRA to make any other into an investment vehicle, and real estate's one of the key things people do.
So, a company like yours, Carrie, to me, one of the main reasons, I own one rental property, I'm okay with fixing the toilet. I have a handyman flair to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with reading up on the laws. I'm okay with getting that contract signed. One of the problems I would have is I have husband and wife renting from me. They make payments on time for the first 3-4 months. Children in there, they're in school, right? Because you're going to buy a rental property, probably by a good school. That's one of the strategies for it. When you go to real estate concierge, they'll tell you the strategy to buy that.
There's lots, and that is one.
But for me, as a landlord, I would have a hard time evicting somebody.
That's hard.
And I don't. And you
really
have to go get the sheriff, and you do this and that. Talk to me about the eviction process and how you guys handle that. Can you do it, Kevin?
Well, I know this isn't an infomercial about E for Properties. You just called me up here to talk about what I've had in experience. But one thing about it is that we're the third party. When it comes to something like that, we're in the middle. All we're doing is executing the lease or exercising the rights of the landlord in the lease. And unfortunately, eviction is part of it. And there's a process we go through. We don't get personal, you end up knowing the people a lot of times that are living in the houses, okay? But knowing the nuances of their personalities and the way they are, it means a lot on how you go approach them for whatever it is, whether you're wanting to get a repair made, get a key to let us in without them being there, things like that. You just know the nuances of the people. So, but as far as an eviction goes, there's a couple of things that happen automatically. The way that it depends on how the lease is written. Our particular lease is written where it's rent's due on the first, late after the third, and the process that we have in place to take care of that is the system of sending out a 3-day vacate letter. The lease says you can send a one-day notice. We give a 3-day vacate letter.
So that means if our tenant
it's not paid the rent
on 12:01 a.m. on the first day. Some leases are written to where eviction proceedings and notice to vacates can start. Not eviction proceedings, but notices to vacate can start at 12:01 a.m. on day one. A lot of people don't know that.
That's kind of extreme.
It is, but there's one prominent property management company in Dallas that manages about 1,500 properties that does that, and they're very strict about it.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's so many ways that you can do it.
But no matter which one you take, whether it's 1 day or the 3-day vacate, it's still going to take 25 to 30 days to get them out according to the process of law. All right, but we send a 3-day vacate letter out on the very next day after the grace. It's not really a grace period, but it's over the period of if it's late after the 3rd, all right, so we send that 3-day vacate letter out. It's the first legal requirement to get them out of the house as quick as the law will allow, which is about 30 days. Then,
and that's not really the law, is it, Carrie?
No.
Isn't that just based on the court systems and their
well, that's
docket?
about how long it takes
Yeah.
the time, but you do have to wait 5 full business days before you can file the eviction.
The writ,
right?
the writ of possession.
Right, the writ
yeah.
of, no, not the writ of possession, the eviction itself. Then the judge
At the court.
the judge sets the court date, and that's usually 7 to 10 days after you file the eviction. Then you go stand before the judge and you present the case, and most of the time the tenants don't show up. It's a default judgment. I'm running through this pretty fast, but it's a default judgment. Then you have to wait another 5 full business days, not Saturday and Sunday. If the 5th business day lands on a Monday, then you can't. You go file the writ of possession, then you wait for the constable to call to schedule the set out.
And the set out means you basically take, is it 4 guys or 4 women?
Well, the constable calls that. Lately, it's changed some. The constable, they'll tell you how many people they want. They will tell you how many people they want. 6 people. They want 10 people. You got to bring 6 or 10 people.
That's right, and that's a landlord expense initially, hoping to get it paid back from the tenant.
Well, the only hedge that you have is the tenant security deposit,
right?
Which doesn't when the default judgment, you automatically the landlord gets that.
But the key is like. And again, I can't answer some of these questions because I've done property management for 5 years. We managed 55 properties, but the reason why I got out of the business is because I thought it was so difficult, and that's why I turned to people like Carrie to do properties for all of our clients. But the goal is, you asked the question, is it hard to evict someone? Yeah, it is, because it's people. Carrie cares about people. I care about people. Anybody that's successful in this industry, you just have to care about people, I think. But yes, it's hard, but the bottom line is this. It's all about communication. So for all you tenants out there that are in this spot, or all you landlords that are in this spot, you just have to communicate. You have to say the words, and you have to make the call. And if you say you're going to pay the rent, pay the rent. If you say you're going to call you back and give you an update on Friday the 15th, call back on Friday the 15th and give the update.
Sure.
Problems happen when people start avoiding conversations and they start not following through with what they promised to do. So the words...
That's why, isn't that true in life?
It's true in life. It is. It's so true. But I have found communication is the key. Would you agree with that?
I'm going to say that's true. The landlord is the boss. I mean, he's the one that owns the property.
Or she, Carrie.
The lease, huh?
Or she.
Or she. Used to be, you could say he, and it meant everybody. But
everybody, yeah.
Okay,
things are different now.
But here the landlord is the boss, and the lease is between the land, or it should be. You should always write the lease between the landlord and the tenant, not the tenant and the property management company.
Right, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you run into trouble at court there if you can run into legal trouble if you do it the other way. But at any rate, you've got it where the landlord, you communicate. Sometimes it's prudent, depending on the situation with the tenant. Again, knowing the nuances, listening to their stories. If they told the same story over and over again, you kind of get the idea that maybe this isn't going to work out, and you act differently. But sometimes it's prudent to work with the tenant to let them come in late and pay late fees, and if they can't pay all the late fees, right? You're always going to have that. As long as there's money on the books that they owe money, you're always going to have the right to pay according to the lease, the past due balances with the next month's rent. And it causes the rent to go to delinquent, and then you'll always be able to send that 3-day vacate letter. Now, this is the legal process. We can't just take the back door off the house anymore to get people out. So you have to do things legally, right?
That's what I want to know.
As you should, right? Texas is one of the loosest states with laws, like not the loosest, but it's basically what we call a landlord-friendly state. California is the opposite. That's a tenant-friendly state. Yeah. Texas is a landlord-friendly state. So the laws are in favor of the owner, the business owner. Texas is very pro-business and everything.
That's right.
But again, the tenants absolutely have rights, and the landlord should do the right thing in all cases. But it's all about communication and telling the truth, right? Do what you say you're going to do. Match the action with the statement.
But the primary, the gist of what I was saying about being prudent was that the landlord, communication, you mentioned it a little earlier, communication is very high on our list of things to do. Answering the phone, returning our calls, emails too. Communicate with the owner if anything's going on with the house. Now you think, well, why are you having a property management company if you're going to be talking to me all the time, why don't you just talk direct to the tenant? Because we work for you, Mr. Landlord, and we're going to tell you what we think from our experience, and give you perspective on how you want to handle this. And we know the tenants better than you do, basically, you know, and we know what is coming down the pike if they're behind on their rent. And we can go to the house and see the house, make an inspection, decide, well, or can we, you know, we want to try to keep these people, they're taking care of the house, blah, blah, and all that stuff. So, anyway, sometimes it's best to work it out.
Yes,
Okay?
I always
try to work it out.
Hold that thought. Live here on Real Estate Talk, Eford Properties. My buddy Kerry Eford. This hour is brought to you by Real Estate Concierge. You can reach out to Eford Properties. If there's any of this making sense to you, and you don't want to be in the people business, call Kerry. You'll be glad you did. 972-572-5656.
Tell them
Again,
you're coming from the radio station.
576-5656. When we come back, you wonder what the tenants' rights are? We're going to talk about that. Stick around. We'll be back in a Willis Ghost.